Hello everybody, my name is ProfRich, and today we are learning about a so-called advanced grammar point. This is cleft sentences, sometimes associated with C1 level. That's a 7.5 and above in IELTS. And in this video, we're going to take a look at cleft sentences, how to use them, how to form them, and how they are really used in conversations. So, let's begin. What exactly is a cleft sentence? A good place to start. And in answering this question, we may want to consider the meaning of the word cleft. Cleft. So, cleft is actually the past of cleave. And cleave means separate into two. So, split or separate in two. Normally, the verb cleave is used in cooking or other things where you have a very big cutting instrument. That's cleave. It means separate or split into two parts. So, that gives us an idea of cleft sentences. A cleft sentence, a basic cleft sentence, is when we separate a sentence with one clause into a sentence with two clauses. So we have a simple sentence with one clause, and we separate that into two sentences. Here's your summary of everything that I just said there about cleft sentences. And in just a moment, I'm going to give you a very basic example of that. But in the meantime, why don't you remember to smash that like button and hit subscribe? This is the best damn place to learn English on the internet. All right, so the example. Very simple example. Let's talk about a simple example, a simple sentence with one clause. That is, I like cheese. I like cheese has one clause. We have subject and predicate. That is a clause, subject plus predicate. Predicate, by the way, just means verb and other stuff. So there's our verb and other stuff, predicate. And there is our subject. Okay, one clause. I like cheese. Do you like cheese? I like cheese. So let's take our example, I like cheese, and let's make it into a cleft sentence. So there's a few ways we can do this. We could say, cheese is what I like. Then we have two clauses. Cheese is what I like. We could say, what I like is cheese. Again, that's two clauses, right? What I like is cheese. Two clauses, two verbs. Or we could say something like, it's cheese that I like. It's cheese that I like. This is also two clauses. Now, strictly speaking, all of these sentences mean the same thing. I like cheese. Cheese is what I like. What I like is cheese, and it's cheese that I like. They're all the same. But there's a difference in emphasis. There's a difference in rhythm, and there's a bit of variety. Language is all about variety. It's not necessarily about simplicity. So sometimes, we like to use different colors to paint different things. And that's what cleft sentences are all about. They are different ways of saying stuff, which makes the language interesting. So, let's have a little chat. I'm going to give you some sentences and I want you to tell me, do you agree or disagree with these sentences? So take a look at those sentences on your screen now, and I will also read those so you've got them. Do you agree or disagree, and say why? You can type your answers in the chat. If you're watching this video later, then you can make a note what you think about these. So number 1, it is by speaking that students learn a language. What do you folks in the chat think about that? Anawat says it's me who likes cheese. Very good, Anawat. Thank you. That is a cleft sentence. Do you think it's by speaking that students learn a language? What do you people think about that? Sleepwalker says not only speaking. What else can you do to learn a language? Sleepwalker. Answers on a postcard. You can send those to PO Box 66321. What? No, just kidding. I was getting into 1990s television presenter mode then. Number 2, what excites us most is how we should learn. What excites us most is how we should learn. Maybe we could say that another way, to say the way we should learn is doing what excites us most. Learning grammar, vocabulary, listening practice, and reading practice. Why learn grammar, Sleepwalker? What's the benefit of learning grammar? Pachu says, what I agree is it is by speaking that students learn a language. Very good. What I agree with, you just need the preposition with. What I agree with is it's speaking that puts into practice what we know. Yeah, we don't always need to know it, actually. Sometimes you can just copy and try to understand by copying. What about number 3? It is interactive learning that make classes interesting. Do you like interactive learning in the classes? Do you like to be able to interact and talk and practice? Or do you prefer to have an expert teacher with great explanations who will just tell you what the right answer is and what to do? Sleepwalker says, grammar helps us to express ourselves in a good way. Grammar helps us to express ourselves in a good way. Dwee says, I don't really agree with this because you also need to learn things that don't excite you. Yes, but Dwee, you said you need to learn things that don't excite you. And this sentence says you should learn things which excite you. So there is a difference there, isn't there, with should learn and need learn. We need to learn boring things, but we should learn exciting things, right? Tetsuro says, I disagree because we can also learn a language by reading, writing, and listening. Yes, and you can learn to play the piano by reading and listening as well. But what's the best way to learn how to play the piano? What do you think? Hey, here's another example. How about this? So, let's say that you want to learn to dance. Does anyone want to learn to dance? Do you want to learn to dance? Well, you can learn to dance by buying a book on Amazon, How to Dance. Then you can read the book and you can write about it and you can listen to people talking about how to dance. And that will tell you some things about how to dance. But what's the best way to learn how to dance? What is the best way to learn how to dance? And is speaking a language like dancing? Let's see what else we have here. We have number 4. The factor that contributes most to student success is communication. I disagree. Effective learning strategies should also be evidence-based and tailored to individual learning needs and goals, regardless of the excitement factor. Effective learning strategies should also be evidence-based and tailored to individual learning needs and goals, regardless of the excitement factor. But excitement is evidence-based, because we know that students learn and retain things best when they are excited about it. So it is evidence-based, and it is tailored, because different things excite different people. Some people are excited by mathematics. Really? Very, actually. Some people are very excited by mathematics. Some people are excited by physics. I'm quite excited by physics. You start talking to me about extraterrestrial life and stuff like that, and I start going loopy. But, you know, not everybody gets excited by that sort of thing. So I actually think, Pavia, that what your statement is not a contradiction of two, it's compatible with it. So you're not disagreeing. That's my response. 4, agree. We should practice speaking and communication with people. That's why we learn a language, to be able to express ourselves so that other people understand us. Bingo! Can I do like a celebration thing? Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. And Patrick says, I agree that what students need most during exams is more study with methods. Well, that's it. If you want to pass an exam, the best way to pass an exam is to study. Study is really good for passing exams. And if that's what it's about, then you got to study. You got to study. But you know what? Exams are evil. But they are a necessary evil. All right, let's do some practice then with cleft sentences. Let's do some of that lovely, lovely grammar practice that everybody wants. Give me the grammar practice. Okay, all right, let's have some grammar practice, everybody. I'd like you to make these into simple sentences. So on your screen right now, you can see some clefts. Some cleft sentences, and I would like you to make these cleft sentences into simple sentences. So they have 2 clauses at the moment, and I want you to make them into a sentence, into a sentence with 1 clause. So quick. Are you on a computer or a mobile device, Sleepwalker? Because that was like, ding, straight away. I like the most these classes. That's pretty good, but the word order is not quite right. Zoya's got it right with a typo. I like these classes the most. That's the one. Well done. And well done, Pavia, who also has number 3. Talking to other people helps me learn. Very good. That's it. That's perfect. Talking to other people helps me learn, Zoya. Yes, well done. Okay, well done. So that was a bit of easy practice. Are we ready 4, hard mode. Here we go. Hard mode. 3, 2, get your pens ready. 1, let's go. Hard mode. Make these into simple sentences. I'm not sure it's that hard, to be honest. it's not really that hard mode. Kind of hardish mode. All right, well done, everyone. You're getting those answers in straight away. Students learn a language by speaking. Well done. You could interpret it that way, Zoya, but actually I did mean the opposite. But I understood there is an ambiguity in how I wrote it. Yeah, Pavia has it right here. Number 2, we should learn in ways that excite us. Or we should learn by the things that excite us, or something like that. We should learn in the ways that excite us the most. It's a good answer here by Pavia. Interactive learning makes classes interesting. Correct. Communication greatly contributes to student success. Correct. Great. Students need to study more during exams. Yes, or students most need more study during exams. There's some ambiguity there as well. And number 6, some teachers don't understand their students. Yes, that's it. Great. Well done. There are multiple ways of solving some of these. Let's move on to our next exercise. So now we're going to do the reverse. And with the reverse, there are definitely multiple ways of doing this. So you will have different answers to other people, and that's okay, because there's many different ways of doing this. We are going to make some cleft sentences. So I'm going to show you some simple sentences, and I want you to make them into cleft sentences. All right? So we got 5 simple sentences. Can you make them into cleft sentences? For example, feedback helps students correct their mistakes. One way to do that in a cleft sentence is, it's feedback that helps students correct their mistakes. That is one way to do it. But there are other ways, and you can type those into the chat. Or if you're watching the video later on YouTube, then you should smash that like button, hit subscribe, and you can write your answers down on a little piece of paper. I've got a lovely notepad here This was rescued. Somebody didn't want it. As you can see, it's a bit scrappy, but I like the colour scheme. It's a nice colour scheme, isn't it? I've got some of my notes in here. My notes are a bit messy though, so I don't really want to show you much of them. But anyway, always good to have an actual physical notebook rather than digital notes. I'm a big techie person. I really like technology, but having a physical notebook with a pen, I think, can be very helpful for taking notes. It does help. Really helps with our learning. Let's see what we've got for number 2. We use phrases to learn the language. Tetsuro says, it's the language that we use phrases to learn. I think this is better, actually, Tetsuro. It's phrases that we use to learn a language. Yes, that sounds a bit better. And also a good one there from Anawat. What we use to learn the language is phrases. Yes. Learning new things motivates students. It's learning new things that motivates students, Sleepwalker. It's not exams that are useful for learning languages. That's not quite right. What you've said is a bit different to what I said in number 4 there. There's a slightly different meaning there. Pavia says, it is exams that aren't useful for learning languages. No, that's okay. This is what I would say. I would say, what's not that useful for learning languages are exams. What are not that useful for learning languages are exams. What are not that useful for learning languages are exams. Too much grammar makes everyone sad. It's grammar that makes everyone sad. Sorry, I was covering the last word. All right, well done, folks. Some excellent answers there. It is grammar that makes everyone sad. Fantastic. So, as we've seen in the lesson today, there are 5 types of cleft sentence. Actually, there are 6, but the 6th type is a bit different, a bit weird, and not so useful. So let's forget about the 6th type and talk about the 5 in the lesson for today. Let me show you the types of cleft sentence that we saw in the lesson today. So, the types of cleft sentence that we have seen in the lesson today, we have it's English that I like learning, so we have it and it cleft. We have what excites us most is how we should learn. That's a WH cleft. We have exams are exactly what we don't need to learn. That's a reverse WH cleft. Then we have there's a teacher who I like a lot. That's a the cleft. And all we need is communication. That's an all cleft. Like the Beatles, all we need is love, also featured in the thumbnail today. So they are the 5 types of cleft that we've seen today. Let's do a bit of reflection. Are we on to reflection? Oh, no. Let's do a bit of practice. See, I missed it off my list. A bit of practice, folks. I thought we were missing something. So complete these sentences about learning in your own way. You can choose which one you want to complete. You don't have to complete them all. Choose any of those, 1 to 5. Complete them in your own way. Post them in the chat. For example, What I don't like learning. 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 What don't I like learning? What I don't like learning is... What I don't like learning is accountancy. Accountancy. Accounting. Not my area. What I don't like learning is bookish English. Interesting. Oh, what I don't like learning is grammar, which is without context. Nice, Pachu. Well done. That's a good thing to not like learning because it sucks. What I don't like learning is bad behaviors like smoking, playing video games, and scrolling through social media. Yeah, Zui, that's a very good point. Tetsuro says, what I don't like learning is math. What excites me to learn is my results. Aha. What excites me to learn is phrases. New phrases, Pachu. What most excites me to learn is history without the, Manuel. We don't need the. It's conversation that I enjoy most about classes. What excites me to learn is practical English. What excites me to learn is how to cook. What's your style of cooking, Tetsuro? What excites me to learn is new ways to achieve different tasks. Do you know one of the best ways to learn how to achieve different tasks is to try and do the task? Doing is a great way of learning new ways. It's cleft sentences that I enjoy most about classes. Really? 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 That's interesting. It's learning new information that I enjoy most about classes. All I really want to overcome is my ignorance. All I really want is to overcome my ignorance. Wow, interesting. What excites me to learn is unraveling the hidden meanings in classic literature. Are you sure? Is it really hidden meanings? You know, sometimes it's difficult to know, is it the mind it goes into or the mouth it comes out of? Are these meanings in the eye of the beholder? It's difficult to say, isn't it? But it is part of our enjoyment of critiquing literature to consider such things. I like learning how to cook Chinese food. Ah, very good. I like dim sum. All I really want is a smiling face. A smiling face. Smiling face. Well, I can give you one of those. You know, you can make them bounce around the screen by doing this. You do this and they bounce around the screen. Look at that. Fireworks. Poetic elegance and profound symbolism is what I'd like my English to be like. Really? All right. Fantastic. All right, folks, let's have a little bit of reflection. What's the main point you've learned today, and what do you need to practice more after today? So, what have you learned in today's class? Is there been anything new, or was it simply about consolidation? What do you need to practice more after today? Erdogan says, all I really want is to pass the university entrance exam. Yeah, they can be tough, can't they, Erdogan? Oh, you want to learn how to invest money as an asset instead of a liability. Have you been reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Oh, yes, Manuel. Well, actually, there are many, many, many different ways of writing the same meaning. Many, many, many different ways that you can write the same meaning. Right, they add colour and emotions. Exactly. That is the point, really, Zoya. That's what it's really about. It's just complexity, different options, different emphasis sometimes. You like this coffee, don't you? That coffee? No, it's that coffee that I like. Yeah, I read that book about 3 years ago, Zoe. My friend Neil, who I host an educational podcast with, recommended the book to me about 5 or 6 years ago. I found it interesting. It didn't particularly help me, except thinking about assets and liabilities. At least that was a useful thing to consider. Right then, so extra fun task. Can you make 3 cleft sentences about your hobbies and interests? Where is my picture? I put a lovely picture there and it's gone. Let me get that picture. I won't be happy until I get it. Generated this lovely picture to put there. There it is. There it is. Look at that, it's perfect. So, could you try to make 3 cleft sentences about your hobbies and interests? For example, there's a new game that I'm really into. What I enjoy most about video games is how it distracts and yet challenges the mind. You want that pronunciation again? Are we ready for that? Let's have a big mouth. What I enjoy most about video games is how it distracts and yet challenges the mind. What I enjoy most about video games is how it distracts and yet challenges the mind. What I enjoy most about video games. What I love the most is traveling around the world. Yes, you're a big traveler, Manuel. When are you going to Japan? Have you been to Japan? The one thing I most like is reading a book which gives me a lot of new vocabulary and helps in comprehension. The recommendation I have with reading in general, Pachu, is to choose books which don't have a lot of vocabulary which you haven't seen. So actually you want books which are quite easy to read, but you pay attention and try to notice the structures, that is the phrases and how they're used, to try to improve your active vocabulary. All I want is to be a jarhead. Okay. You want to join the army, Dan? You want to join the army? You seem like quite a smart guy to join the army. Are you doing officer training? What I enjoy most about English is that, by the way, I'm not saying that people in the army are stupid. I take that back immediately. I mean that joining the army as a private is normally for people with more physical talents, and real deep thinkers will normally aim to join the army as a lieutenant, right? A commissioned officer, as they say. What I want to play is karate. What I want to play? I think play is not quite the right word for karate. We're going to play karate. What I want to do is karate. What I'm into role-playing games the most is that I can be rewarded with VR treasure to finish a mission. So let me change this for you, Dewey. It's the reason why I'm into role-playing games is that I can be rewarded with VR treasure. So the reason why I'm into role-playing games. What the teacher loves most is joking in Spanish. Y mira, lo que pasó que yo pedí una paella y el camarero, pues, pensó que quería decir para ella y no me entendía, la verdad. Paella. Es lo mismo, ¿no? Literature captivates me like nothing else. Is that a cleft sentence? What captivates me like nothing else is literature. That's the cleft. All I need is to practice English well and pass the exam. What's the exam, Pachu? What's the exam, if you want to tell us? Let's move on to our homework assignment. And the deadline is for today. Oh, we'll come back to the homework, actually. Sorry. Dong. Let's go to question time and we'll come back to the homework and then we'll listen to the homework. So, thank you very much for joining me today, everybody. You can download the notes from today's class, as you can for all classes. And I will post that in the chat right now. And it will also be available down below the video. Just like that. Pearson test of English. Actually, I'm not familiar with that, although I am familiar with Pearson. I like Pearson quite a lot. They tend to be quite good. Let's have a look here. Read aloud? Read aloud? You will see some text. Read the text aloud? What? Really? That's part of the test? Read a text aloud? That is a weird thing to have in a speaking test. You will see an image, describe the image in detail. That's okay. Listen and read a description of a situation, then answer a question about it. That's interesting. Yeah, that stuff's a bit better, but the read a text aloud is so weird. What a weird thing to have on a speaking exam. I think it's a very practical exam. Well, it looks like there's some practicality to it, but it's not the most practical exam, is it? I mean, read a text aloud? That's not practical. When do you read a text aloud? No one ever... You do that like hardly ever in your real life. It's a bit weird, I think, that. Describe an image is okay, but everyone uses that. The best stuff is role plays and discussions with a real examiner, a real person. My question, Rich, would you get rid of final exam tests? Yes, but not assessments. Yes. So I would not get rid of assessments. I wouldn't get rid of written exams either, but I would limit written exams and they would lose. So I would lower the importance of written exams. I would eliminate written coursework assessment. We'll still have written coursework, but it's not assessed. Because you can just generate it now with ChatGPT, so there's no point. I would prioritize practical and interactive assessment. So, like, direct communication with examiner, performing tasks, and assessment based on tasks. Well, yeah. There are 6 main types, Pavia, but these categories are like the grammar categories. And if we take cleft to mean split the sentence into 2 clauses, I'm sure that we can think of many different ways to do that. Like, I like cheese. Can we think of a weird way to do this? Like, cheese is the one that I like. I mean, that's a bit different, isn't it? And that's still a cleft, right? Cheese is the type of food I like. The type of food for me has to be cheese. I mean, there's lots of different ways of doing it if you get creative about it, isn't there? But those types that we talked about before, they're sort of the discrete types that you see in the course books. What excites you most about teaching English? I guess it's the scope of topics available. Language touches everything, and therefore I have scope as a teacher to say, hey, let's talk about aliens. You ready? We're talking about aliens today. I don't care if you think aliens don't exist. I don't care if you think your mother's an alien. We're going to talk about aliens today. You ready? You can do that with English. You can do that with language teaching. I like that. Because I have less... Thank you, Sleepwalker. I love the bouncing alien faces. I have less restrictions. If someone tried to say, hey, Rich, you got to teach like this, right? Today we're doing past simple and you'll be talking about events. Tomorrow, past perfect, and you talk about family. The next day, then I'll quit. I'm not going to do that job. I do teaching English because I have the freedom to be creative with it. It's one of the things I like most about it. Also, obviously, it's very fulfilling. And, you know, I'm an introvert. I'm not a very sociable person. And I think if I didn't teach English, then I would be even less sociable. I know that sounds a bit wild to say that, but it's true. I'm not a super sociable person, as my wife will testify. Are there any differences in the following sentences? Who are coming? Who all are coming? What things do you need? What all things do you need? So the first one, this is like colloquial US. It might even be so-called African American vernacular English, which I think is called AAVE. Who all are coming? Like, it sounds a bit like kind of southern US. So that's like who all are coming. So it's kind of colloquial US. The second one, what things do you need? What all things do you need? What all things do you need sounds just wrong to me, Dan. So I'm not so sure about that one. But again, it could be a colloquial American thing. But what all things do you need sounds kind of wrong. Yeah, I believe so, Pavia. I think pseudo-cleft is the same as WH cleft. But, you know, it's just, that's a stupid term, isn't it? Pseudo-cleft. I mean, it's not a pseudo-cleft, is it? It's a cleft. Why would it be a pseudo-cleft? Like, a pseudo-cleft is something that looks like a cleft but isn't a cleft, right? Isn't it? That's what we mean with pseudo. Pseudo means like, it looks like something, but it's not it, right? Yeah, it's like false. It's like it's not really it. But a WH cleft is a cleft. So why do they call it a pseudo cleft? That's ridiculous. I don't know why they call it a pseudo cleft. I don't like it. Let's not call it a pseudo cleft. We'll call it a WH cleft. It is a cleft. Screw these grammarians and their nonsense. Pseudo cleft indeed. Musha? What is that? What are you talking about? Musha? What? Irish Gaelic? Musha? I've never heard that. I don't know where that's from, Sleepwalker. Do Irish people say that sometimes? It says it's Irish Gaelic. Only English in the chat, Zui. That's one of the rules. Dun, dun, dun. Don't do it. Only English in the chat. Because I don't know what you said, so I have to delete it. That's the rules. I'm sure it's very innocent, but we have that rule. In Eastern Europe, the majority of teachers are women. Are you surrounded with women and do you feel awkward? Really? The majority of teachers are women? That's interesting. In my career, I would say the split is about 50-50. In some places I've worked, it's all men. And in other places, it's 50-50. As it happens, the place where I work right now is almost all women, which is unusual. But that is the case where I currently work. There are 3 male teachers in my department. Three, including me. There's 3. So that's interesting. But also, another interesting thing is, I'm very young in my job. Which is weird at my age. But I am very young in my job. I'm one of the youngest teachers in the department. It's a bit funny, you know, being the young one. But there you go. One of my colleagues is 74, and she's great. She is great. She obviously works part-time at 74, but she's wonderful. Very, very techie as well. She's good techie. I talked to her about ChatGPT. Does Cure Vanilla have a flavor? Of course vanilla has a flavor. Yes, vanilla has very much a flavor. All English courses should be based on practical. Yes, of course they should. Majority of now that's a good point, Manuel. That's a good point. That's a problem. That is a problem. It's a big problem. Really big problem. Really big problem. See if I can find the graph on this. Do you know why it's a problem? Have a think. Have a think why this is a problem. What happens when you have a lot of uneducated men running around? Just have a think about that. What happens when your men are uneducated? Quite a few nasty things could happen there. Also, the educated women find it difficult to find partners because they can't find men who have the same level of qualifications as them. And hey, to some women, that's important. If you're a woman in education, would you marry a man who doesn't have your level of education out of interest? Some may, but to some women it is important. So it makes a problem, an issue, doesn't it? 41. TOEIC is popular, but IELTS is more popular. I'm not sure about much more. That's difficult to say, but TOEIC is popular. Really, Tetsura, the important thing is you need clear your objective. So if you know exactly the institution that you want to go to, it can really help you decide which exam to take. But yes, TOEIC is popular. Cambridge English is popular. TOEFL is quite popular. IELTS is probably the most popular in my experience. What's this? Can you pronounce some sentences in British English? British. Another bottle of water. Can I? What's the there? Can you get a bottle of water? Can I have a bottle of water? Can I have a bottle of water? Bottle of water. Can I have a bottle of water? Give us a bottle of water. Bottle of water. A bottle of water. Oi! Hello, Governor. Give us a bottle of water, would ya? You got a licence for that, mate? A bottle of water. Bottle of water. God, blimey. Look at that bottle of water. I'll have a bottle of water, please, buddy. Yeah, people say buddy now. It's a bit weird because buddy used to be super American. But now, people still say mate, but they also say buddy. All right, buddy. Bottle of water. Well, that was the British accent, but that was a kind of colloquial British accent. How do you pronounce comment? Like that. Comment. 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 What I do not like is learning grammar. What I do not like learning is grammar. Maria del Carmen seems to be a little bit behind on the stream. Is that sweet? Pure vanilla? I'm not sure. I think it's a little sweet, but not very. I think it's just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit sweet. They're not all expensive, Erdian. That you can find cheaper ones. It depends where you are. If you're in another country and you want a well-recognized course, yeah, they're expensive. It's a money-making thing. They make loads of money. Quality certification is always expensive, right? Like, if you want to do a master's, then you need money. You can't do a master's for like £300, right? You need to spend like £9,000 for the certification. It's just how it is. No, it's okay, Julia. I turned that on deliberately. There is an option on the stream to make it so people have to be live, but I just leave you the option. 100 civil servants for every 10 men. Interesting. Where are the protests, Manuel? Manuel loves equality. He's been treated very well by the principles of equality, as he told me about recently. It's fantastic. Thank you. It's very interesting seeing Maria go through this. Yeah, language is lazy. I mean, it's not about saying things perfectly, is it, Pallavi? But, you know, people get lazy, don't they? Were you teaching before this live stream? Yeah, I was teaching, but not in my institution. I was just teaching private classes today. IELTS is relatively expensive. It is. It is. It is. It is. It is. Yeah. Let's get a list of them. So you've got IELTS costs you about £200 to do the exam. You've got TOEFL. TOEFL's a good one, especially if you're going to the US. It's very well recognized in the US. It's a bit cheaper, be about £180. Cambridge English. That's the exam that I used to examine for. And that actually depends on the level, because with Cambridge English, you have to choose the level. So it varies depending on the level. Someone before was speaking about Pearson's English. I think that can be about £170, £180. There's the Trinity exam, which is not as well recognised. That actually can be as cheap as like £50 if you're in the right institution. It depends. Also, again, with Trinity, it depends on the level. They're the main ones. But, you know, you can do something like the ESOL Skills for Life exam. You have to be in the UK to do it. And, you know, that'll cost you like 50 or less. So, you know, if you come to the UK, you do ESOL Skills for Life. But that's only recognised in the UK. It's not an internationally recognised qualification. Deliberately so. Because the government funds it, so they want people to stay. Yeah, I did a short on that. I didn't actually do that well. I thought it would do more, but it wasn't brilliant. Very weird which things do well. You know the stream that's blowing up? I did a stream about 10 days ago called The Future in English. And the thumbnail just says, Gonna. And that stream's blowing up. It's still going. 25 new subscribers. YouTube is still serving it out to new people. It's been one of the most successful streams on the channel. It is the most successful in terms of new subscribers. That stream. And I've watched it myself to see why, and I don't know why. I don't know. If anyone can tell me why the stream that says The Future in English and Gonna, if anyone can tell me why that's done so well, please tell me. Because I don't know. I've watched it and I'm like, why? Why this one? Why that one? I just don't know. Is it the simple thumbnail? Is it the fact that I go straight into grammar, which is exactly what I don't like doing when I teach, by the way. It's the opposite of how I want to teach. Grammar should be at the end. But videos do better when grammar's at the start. Of course they are. If you want. Do you want to come on and do a live interview, Daisy? We're thinking about having people on. I don't know about Wednesday, maybe next Saturday. British. Hello, Governor. Where's your air breathing licence? Hello, mates. Hello. Excuse me, sir. Do you happen to have a licence for that breathing? Have you got a licence for that breathing? Hello, what's all this then? Do we have someone breathing in a public area? Oh dear, I'm afraid someone isn't particularly familiar with the laws around here, are we, sir? Shall we shall we take a visit down to the old Bill? Take a visit down to the old Bill? Hello, 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 what's all this then? My name is PC Plog, and I'm afraid you appear to be breathing without a license. Without a license. Okay. Yes, we do love our licenses. Now, you want to learn about memes? I think I might get in trouble. I kind of like dank memes, you know? Yeah. Don't want to get in trouble. You know what memes are like? Kind of spicy. The EU wants to ban them. Ban the memes. That's what they say. Is it worth the money studying English class before taking IELTS test at the British Council? Yeah. So, Daisy, this is the thing, right? There is no doubt that the British Council has the best language teachers on average. That is 100% true. However, will you necessarily get a great teacher? No, but your chances are much higher at the British Council. However, of course, the cost is, they know their cost is the highest, right? When I was working there in Hanoi for the British Council, the boss of the centre said, we are aiming not for the 1%, we're aiming for the 1% of the 1% in Vietnam. So you need to be in the 1% of the 1% to afford classes at the British Council in Vietnam. That was certainly the case at the time. So yeah, it's tough. Entrance exam. So what you need to do, Daisy, at the British Council is they have open days. They have days when you go in and do level test. They have at least one a week, but sometimes they have, in fact, normally they have more than one a week, every week. They're rolling, right? So they employ teachers who have slots for level testing all throughout the week. So if you want to study there, you can get that level test for free. You just need to contact them and say you want to study IELTS and have the level test. You will need the level test, because obviously they have groups of lower IELTS, medium IELTS, higher IELTS, depending on the requirement. There's no harm in doing the level test. You could do the level test, see if you like the person who does the level test and say, hey, will you be my teacher? You can ask. I mean, you deserve to know who your teacher is. With the IELTS classes, you do have a fixed teacher. That's different than the My Class product, where you don't have a fixed teacher. I quite liked My Class, actually. They were the standard adult classes, not for IELTS. But for IELTS preparation, you have the same teacher and a fixed schedule. I believe that's how they used to do it. But it is expensive. I mean, someone else to consider in your city is ASET. They are definitely not as good as the British Council, but you get good teachers there. That's ASET. So you could try them. Probably you want to avoid Apollo. You might get lucky, get a good teacher, but Apollo is the McDonald's of English teaching in Vietnam. You can get a good burger sometimes, that's for sure. And I have colleagues who worked with Apollo, you know, at the start of their career, right? but they are the McDonald's of English teaching. ASET can be good. Check out ASET. British Council, okay. Do you need a license to ride a horse? I don't think so. I don't think you need a license to ride a horse. Right then. Let's stop messing around. Enough of this messing around. It's homework time. All right, you ready? Let's have a listen to some homeworks. We've just got 2 this time, and let's go.
How to get by in Thailand. Up until 1939, the country being called Siam as one Southern Asian countries that avoid colonization. Thais address each other by first name rather than surname. Thai people usually walk barefoot in their own home. The white or sometimes gold symbols or writings on walls in buildings, houses or cars are given by monks and are believed to be sacred writings that bring luck and blessings to the owner. Wednesdays considered to be bad day for any grooming. It is considered
What?
not to wear black on Thai's weddings.
Really? What is this?
Interracial marriages between with Chinese are common.
Is this how to get by in Thailand, or like how to, I don't even know, how to, like, it's considered bad luck to wear black to a Thai marriage? Is that how to get by? It seems quite specific.
Thais don't eat with a knife and a fork. They eat with a fork and a spoon.
Oh, that's good.
Do not
Fork and a spoon.
step on a threshold, especially at the temple, because it is believed that guardian angels living in there and stepping on it will make angel angry and bring bad luck. How to get by in
All right, thank you very much, Vladimir. That was actually very easy to understand, apart from the fact that the tips were kind of a bit out there. Not quite how to get by, but more how to do specific things and not upset people in Thailand, I think is probably more what we were talking about there. But it was very clear, so thank you for that. Good pronunciation. Let's move on to
Hey everybody, it's
Pavia.
Pavia here. So, you want to avoid detention and NF from ProfRich? I'll give you the ultimate foolproof guide. So, let's begin. Number 1. Do your homework. First things first, do your homework. Think of it like feeding a pet. You can't skip it unless you want to mess, right? So, seriously, getting your homework done is key. Number 2, engage in a chat. During ProfRich's live streams, don't just sit there like a potato. Engage in the chat, ask questions, answer his questions, or just drop a funny comment now and then. Show him you're alive and interested. It's like being at a party. No one likes the person who just stands there in one corner. And number 3, comment below the videos. After watching his videos, leave a comment. It doesn't have to be an essay, just something that shows you were paying attention. Even a simple great video Prof likes. It's like giving a thumbs up after a great meal. You're letting him know you appreciate his effort. And then, number 4, smash that like button. And speaking of appreciation, don't forget to smash that like button. Hit it like you're trying to win a carnival game. ProfRich loves seeing those likes pile up. It's like getting gold stars, and who doesn't love gold stars? And finally, number 5, don't miss his live streams. Try your best not to miss his live stream. Being there live is like front row seats to a concert. It's the best way to experience it. But if you do miss one, no worries. Just make sure to catch up on the content as soon as possible, and think of it as binge watching your favorite TV show but with educational benefits. Have to say that right? Okay, now follow these tips and you will not only avoid detentions and falling grades, but you will also become one of the ProfRich's star students. So stay engaged, do your work, and show some love. You've got this, guys. Thank you.
That was great. Couldn't have said it better myself, Pavia. Thank you very much for that. Absolutely wonderful. Vladimir, yes, get by. Well, get by means the basics. The basics, you know? So when you're in the UK, stand in queues, shake hands, that kind of stuff. I think not wearing black to a marriage seems a bit beyond the idea of just getting by. So awesome little speech there from Pavia. Thank you very much. That brings us to the end of the class today. And as for homework, we'll talk about that on Wednesday, the next homework task. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, I wish you all a lovely, lovely, lovely weekend. And I will be with you again on Wednesday for another stream when we'll be learning about, I have absolutely no idea, I haven't decided yet. But if you have a suggestion, then just post it down in the comments down below and let me know. And I'll have a little think about it. Maybe we'll do it. If you would like to show your financial support and buy me a lovely coffee, you can do that down below the video. There's a link there. It says something like buy Rich a coffee or show your appreciation or whatever, and it is appreciated. But don't feel that you have to do that. Do make sure that you join our community, the Discord server. That's the best place to interact with other members of the community, and also it's the only place where I will accept our homework, and it'll come back. It's kind of, there's not a lot of activity at the moment, but, you know, when we hit like 100,000 subscribers, it'll definitely come back. I am perfectly open to future topics, so make sure you make a comment down below the video because that's the best way that I'll see it. If you type something in the live chat right now, I probably won't see it because I don't actually look at the final comments, but I do appreciate the thanks and the emojis and all the rest of it. All right, everybody, that's me done for the week, and I am now going to have a nice, relaxing weekend with my wife, and I wish you all the same. God be with you, folks, and catch you next time.